Welcome to the Town of Kennebunkport Planning Board of June 5th, 2024. And wow, is this loud?
Yes, it is. It's echoing.
Anyway, okay, first step is attendance, and we have a full board. Okay, so there's two sets of minutes that we have received, and there were a couple of tweaks made in it, and she resent them. So someone could approve.
I move to approve the minutes as revised.
What were the two dates again?
The
1st of May and,
5/15, 5/1, 5/15, yeah.
yeah,
I'll second.
Okay. So Ed,
I agree.
Approve.
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 Okay. Which brings us not to item 1, because item 1 is continued, is continued at the request of the applicant. So item 2 is item 240303, 774 Kings Highway. And you're on.
Hi, I'm Christy Kenny from KW Architects. Try to maybe take this. I'm here on behalf of my clients, the Jones family. They currently own the property, and it's 773 Kings Highway, not 774. And it is not 250 Kings Highway, but it was once 250 Kings Highway prior to the changes of the address on Kings Highway. This is the survey of the property. The current garage is right in this corner of the property. The overhang is actually over the property. It is non-conforming to setbacks of many kinds. This purple line right here is the 75-foot setback from the highest annual tide of the marsh. This green line is the flood zone, the current flood zone. This orange line here is, I believe, the frontal dune and the back dune line. So we have all the restrictions on this end of the property. As you may know, several years ago, the town raised up Kings Highway in this area, which caused a change in the grading and drainage of these properties right here. So currently, this garage, when there's any kind of significant rain, floods. I apologize if there wasn't pictures attached to the, actually I put them over here. If there wasn't pictures attached to the response, I can send out more pictures with the changes that were requested at this hearing.
Fabulous, thank you.
But you'll see in this picture
Oh, yeah.
that the garage in March was surrounded by water on all 4 sides. The entire structure was underwater.
So it's a boathouse.
Yeah, without a,
This is Kings Highway.
Yeah.
So this is before all everything's
this
moved
is
back.
existing.
Right.
That's as of it, that's what it stands as of today. We are coming to you to propose to move the garage, to rebuild it. We are rebuilding it in slightly less square footage because the shape is a little difficult to fit 2 cars in. So we're gonna make it slightly wider and less deep. And we're proposing to move it from this portion up to here. We are moving it outside of the flood zone. However, as you can see from the design, we are going to meet the flood zone requirements for the future flood map, which will be beyond that line in July. So this blue line is the building setbacks on this lot. It is a very tight lot. Several years ago, you'll see there's a little bit of talk about the right-of-way. This right-of-way used to come up and then cut over, and in 2018 or 19, the current planner approved moving this right-of-way over to this edge of the property to allow for a little bit more building envelope for this site, for this property line. You can see there's no place to really locate that garage where it will be completely conforming. What we are proposing is just moving it up so it's beyond the 75-foot wetland setback, beyond the dune boundary, and, well, it's actually in the D1 boundary, and just outside the flood zone line where it is currently. The existing corner is about 2 foot 6 inches from the property line. Then proposed, we pushed it to be an even 3 feet from the property line and kind of squared it off. That puts the garage in a place that's going to be up higher.
And you're going to raise it, obviously, too.
We are. The grade will be a few feet higher because it's in a ditch down here. It will be raised up to meet the grades so that you can come in and drive in. The finished floor is going to be dictated by the existing grades of the right-of-way. But it will be a flow-through foundation. We'll have piers and slats so that the water flows right through. So I think we are here asking, there's a few clerical things I need to update that were on the letter that I sent out. I can talk to you about that. Let me put this on the floor so I'm not. I've worked out with Galen the appropriate deeds from the York County Registry of Deeds that show that the change in the right-of-way was approved. It has been recorded, and I did provide the recorded deeds for that change. I am going to fix the scale on sheet A0. We do have our DEP approval as of April 1st. I noted that we are proposing to move the garage as far as possible out of the setbacks and slightly further away from the side yard property line. There are currently 4 trees, or 3 trees that are in that region. You can see them on the photograph I gave you. We are going to have to remove 2 of them. We can maintain the one that's closest to the existing garage. Sewer water lines, that's why one of the problems why we took so long to get this before the board. It took me a long time to get the sewer and water lines to be placed on the survey. So I do have that. I will turn that in with the next round for the public hearing that shows where the existing sewer and water lines are located. And I added a light note that said all exterior lighting should conform to Chapter 245 of the lighting ordinance. So I can take any questions.
I had several. Christie, Ed Francis. First, just to confirm, the number of the property was changed a few years back.
Yes,
It was 205, is that correct?
205.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So you'll see some of the old
You know, I
surveys.
saw that. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure it wasn't 250. It was 205. You've moved the most offending corner of the garage half a foot or so in. Is the area that is non-conforming increasing or decreasing?
It is remaining the same. Let me just show you the proposed site plan.
3 inches.
Well, it was canted before. Now we've made it so that I think a larger portion of the garage appears to be over the setback line.
Yeah, but it depends on. what
Actually, not
the-
really.
Is it building setback? If you look at that, it's only a small square that's within that
That's,
versus half the garage.
this tiny segment is the only portion of the existing garage that's in the buildable lot area for the front and side yard setbacks. Now,
Uh,
half of the garage
Make
is
sure
in.
I got my question. Maybe I'm just not understanding it. The yellow is what exists today.
Yes,
So if I draw that dotted line that you have that's 15 foot in from the left edge of the property, if I extend that down to the street,
Right.
that's the side setback.
right.
And a good portion of the garage is over that now.
But it's also in the front yard setback
Yeah,
Right.
and the right-of-way setback.
ah,
So if I took this,
got it.
Yeah,
there you
that
go.
just
So you're
has a
saying
little
that
bite.
almost all of the area is non-conforming now, and maybe a half of the area is gonna be non-conforming or less
correct.
afterwards. So it's an improvement in the area and in the absolute amount as
Yes,
well.
and we're removing this pavement in
So
exchange.
Separately, talk about impervious coverage, right? Because those guys are not in the setback. You
I'm
said
not sure I understand those guys.
that crosshatch area is not in,
It's,
is not a structure that's in the setback right now. In the front it is, I guess you're saying.
if it's considered a structure, it's in the front yard setback here. This portion is in the
non-
setback to the 75-foot wetlands.
It's a non-vegetated surface, which is in shoreland.
Right, so
Yep.
now we've transitioned from worrying about the side yard setback. I was worried about the side yard and front yard setback. We've transitioned to worrying about impervious surface. And I do want to ask that question. On the application, where it asks for the percentage of the lot occupied by buildings, you've said that it currently is 1988 square feet, and it's proposed to be 1984 square feet. And where it asks for the percentage of the lot occupied by other impervious, you're changing, it was previously 3132, and it's being reduced by 1 square foot, 3131 square feet.
I don't know where the 3131, I can tell you there was a little confusion in the.
I'm just reading it off of the application here.
Okay. Yeah, the percentage
The percentage isn't given, was my point.
in the application.
In the application, where it asks for percentage, you told me square foot,
Okay,
and I'm having trouble relating that to what percentage of the lot is impervious now. I know when I look at the first page of the application, it looks like it's a survey. It has existing and proposed, but I'm guessing that that's not talking about what you're doing today. This is a dated document, and I
Yes.
should ignore this one, this lot coverage calculations on the first page.
the use of this lot coverage calculations were to find what is proposed, because now that's what's existing. Because survey is from 2019, 2018.
Right.
So,
You're
But
saying,
you-
you're saying that what was done in 2018 was to implement this proposed column, and it gets you down to 5120 square foot of impervious coverage? Do I understand that correctly?
yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to update the application data.
Okay.
But what's on the plans is correct, but I can update the application data. And the reason for the confusion was that in 2018, there was a determination that I'm trying to remember, and I met with Werner before when we started this application. It was a difference between whether we separated the net lot coverage of the square footage of the area that was in the 75-foot setback. So the original 2018 survey for the house that's existing now had a different interpretation of the lot coverage. Because back then, I think it was Brian Shaw who decided that we were working with net versus gross. So the original
Christie,
application, we
did
were
this-
using that data. So I need to
What
correct that.
happened in 2018? Did any work get done? Did
Oh,
something
yeah, maybe I
change?
should explain that.
Did it
So
come before the board?
this house was removed, and a new house was built here.
So
Which
there
was
would have been a
completed.
board action on this.
Yes.
Is there a findings of fact from that that we could look at?
I don't have it. I don't know if I found it. I could look it
I
up,
don't
but
believe it would have went to the board.
What's in the shoreline zone?
So as long as they were staying within the building envelope,
yeah.
site plan review is not required. So the CEO can issue a building permit for that, because they're trying to make it more, they made it more conforming. There was no huge discrepancy on where the placement of the conformity was for the setbacks. They kept everything within the building envelope, which you can see in your,
So you know that there was not a planning board?
I would think it
Review
would
of
not. I don't think, I don't have the property file with me,
Yeah.
but I don't think there was.
I just got this survey about 3 days ago, which I will submit to you in the next package, which
Okay.
is more clear as to what's the as-built. And you'll see the shape of the house is all conforming.
Okay. All right.
So I was not able to get all the documents to you, but I wanted to start the process to
Okay.
be here tonight.
So I guess what we need is whatever was impervious as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this new proposed change in driveway, change in garage location and all that, what the next number is.
This chart is addressing that.
Okay.
And
Which
is
is-
there a change in the right-of-way again?
Nope.
No, okay.
The
okay.
confusion was just that our ordinance would require a wider right-of-way if that was a new right-of-way. And Galen was questioning, was it built the way it was supposed to be built? And we proved that it was.
Okay. So that's
So
not
that
really
kind of-
something for the board.
Nope.
Yeah, that's,
So we just go with the number, or when you resubmit, you'll take the numbers off the plan and put them on the application?
yeah, yes.
Okay.
Well,
And
you say that, Mike.
essentially, we're matching the numbers.
So-
What I'm reading, the reason I'm equivalent about it is that if I'm looking at page A0, it doesn't say what's existing today. It says what was approved in 2018.
Okay, no, it needs to
And-
be what's existing.
Yeah,
Well, isn't that saying that right there on that sheet, it says existing residence and it says proposed garage?
no, I'm looking at this table here that says, I'm going from 5120 to 5115. If this had said existing, and you measured it today, then I wouldn't be quibbling about this. But somehow, approved in 2018 with an asterisk on something that didn't come before the board, that doesn't have a paperwork trail on it, why can't this say, I'm confirming that today, the applicant is confirming to me that this is what exists today?
Our problem was, we had only at the time a 2018 survey of what was approved. So we extrapolated these numbers, but now we've actually had the surveyor go back and update it with what you have there, so,
Okay.
It was
And
very
and did it
confusing.
Did it confirm these figures?
yes.
Okay. So if this, when you're going to update A0 anyhow, my request to you is that you include a from and to,
Yeah.
existing and proposed, not what
Approved in
somebody approved in
2018.
2018, but what exists and what you're proposing to change, and that makes it
Right.
all straightforward.
Okay, I understand.
We won't be
yeah.
second guessing you then.
Right,
or-
yeah,
and
and we
ourselves.
have that data now.
Yeah.
And essentially, our garage is going from 579 to 575.
Yeah.
We have a 515 square foot where you had 5120. We're essentially 0.03% less in the lot coverage than we are today. And that's by means of exchanging this square footage for this square footage.
And what are you doing with the areas where you're removing hardscape, where you're removing driveway, or you're removing?
We're gonna take everything out and regrass it and leave it good to go back
So
to
we'll
natural.
be, I don't know, is pervious a word?
It will be pervious, yes. Permeable.
Permeable, thank you.
It will be natural.
All right.
It'll be a vegetated surface.
There you go. That's the
There we
better term.
So I, at the risk of being sarcastic here, I'm very impressed at the accuracy, the implied accuracy of this, in that the existing setback is 2 foot, 6 and 15/16 inch. I think that's a new record for precision.
I'll be out with my tape measure.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
But laser measurements,
There you go.
we can do that now. I'm teasing.
Or the CAD file.
But I think that, you know, from our simple-minded way of, you've taken a garage and you've moved it so a larger percentage of it is
Less
conforming,
non-conforming.
and that it's also a titch less close to the property line.
Right.
So that's all good.
The one
That's
thing
all I
that
had.
caught me was you said you're gonna be filling.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it sounded like the town filled the road, made you a problem. Now, are you gonna fill and make somebody else a problem?
So-
The water is gonna go somewhere, and it was, looks like it was, you're it right now under your garage.
We're not
You raised-
actually filling, this survey does not have topo on it, but this is high, this is low, and then it all slopes up. So this, the finished floor elevation of this garage will be, this new garage will be higher than the finished floor elevation of this garage by means of the slope of the lot.
Yeah,
Right,
okay,
not
I-
fill, but by the
Mike's
stills.
asking though, why isn't that gonna make the water go sideways? If you're taking the depression out of your garage, why isn't it gonna cause your neighbor a problem?
So I'm actually not a civil engineer. I like to play one, but by removing this, we're actually giving more pervious area in the low point. My civil engineer friends would tell us that this is creating actually like a stormwater runoff basin.
Okay, as long as, if the, I thought when you said earlier, when you were talking, that you were gonna fill that. And if. Grade, I guess maybe it was grade and I heard fill. And I was worried that if you fill.
Yeah,
then it's
go
gotta
to the
go
neighbors.
somewhere. And it may cause an impact on a neighboring property or the city street or.
Yeah, you did use the word fill.
Okay.
That's,
So as
My
long as-
intention is that we have to get to the grade of the right-of-way. This will come in and be graded to, and this building needs to be 6 inches off of, actually 8 inches off of the existing grade, just by the building code rules, because the bottom has to be 8 inches off the grade. So that's what's going to dictate the finished floor elevation of this garage.
And that's impervious, so that water is gonna go somewhere else.
All goes to here, right now.
All right.
And the same
only-
as this property. That garage is also sitting in the water.
But I guess as long as we're not moving water from one portion to the other and it's gonna impact somebody else. If you end up with a pond on your lot, that's your issue. But it's when you impact either the city street or a neighbor, which would be the concern. And just wanna be sure we're not doing that, I guess.
So we can't see it here on this picture, but on the other side of this garage is your neighbor,
Yes,
right? Does he have a water problem also right now?
yes, he does. Yeah.
So what's gonna happen when you raise up the ground level at your garage today? What is today the garage?
We are not raising up the ground level here. We're
Oh,
not
you're not?
allowed to raise up the ground
no,
level.
under the new
Just
garage.
taking the structure out.
The new garage, are you going to raise the ground level at all?
No, we've got to meet the high point, which is right here.
And it's above the flood zone.
Well, no, the flood zone doesn't matter because it's a garage, so
It flows
our wood, we have the flow-through foundation. So this mark here, the water table is above the flood zone line for the future flood zone. This is a flow-through foundation. So in reality, all the water, anything that comes through here is going to flow through and go down. And it's all like it does right now. It filters all to this area, which is where when the road was raised, everything on this side of the road goes to this low spot.
But your impervious looks like solid concrete there going into the new garage. Okay, are you raising that at all?
No, just to get from whatever the finished grade is in the right-of-way up to the finished grade of the garage, which will be 8 inches over the high point, which is right
So
here.
you do have to add something to it.
Well, when I build a foundation, I need to dig down 4 feet, and then I need to set the floor 8 inches above the high point. So
No.
I'm not,
I'm talking about the driveway going into the garage.
I don't have the topo to know where, that, like, if this is 10 and this is 11, that whether this is 6 inches lower or higher, I just don't have that level of detail. But we have to get from here to here to make this work.
And understand that from a building perspective and tying into the right-of-way and the driveway, the only concern I have is feeling comfortable I'm not making the flooding problem worse for the neighbor.
Right,
And right now, I don't know if I know that.
okay.
And, you know, I know it's, if it's like anything else on Kings Highway, it's relatively flat. But I think something to show us that when we do the driveway, we do the building, we're not adversely impacting runoff that is gonna impact the neighboring garage or property, and they're gonna even be in more trouble.
Deeper water.
Yeah.
So in this regard, would it add value to show the topo lines on this drawing?
I'm going to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
It takes 4 months to get a change to a survey right now, which is why we applied in March. Got the comments back that we needed the water sewer lines. Took this long to get the water sewer lines put on the survey.
But
Maybe
don't you have a topo map that you can extract, I think?
No, when
Sure,
you apply, when you ask for a survey, you tell the surveyor what you need, and there was no topo done in the survey.
So you don't have a historical one.
I think
I
the
don't.
USGS may have some maps.
It's highly inaccurate. And in fact, the town, if you would like, I, as an architect, can extrapolate grades from the town web GIS.
Okay.
They are about every 2 feet. They're super inaccurate, but if you want, I can make an attempt at it and basically tell you, this looks to be about 10, this looks to be about 11, this looks to be about 8.
So would the DEP approval have any of the details that you need?
This is
In
what
its
was
approval?
approved by the DEP,
Oh, they approved this, right, okay.
just as it is.
Okay, so,
But what I can do is, we know the neighbor, we have talked with the neighbor, he has approved this garage, and if you would like, I can get a letter from him.
well, okay, but it would also be useful, I think, if you showed elevations, some spot elevations, because you're talking about 10 feet or 11 feet or 12 feet, so, and then you said 2 feet or something, so,
Let me just clarify,
uh,
I don't have the grades in my head, I'm just giving an example,
okay,
10
but
feet,
it'd
11
be useful, I
feet.
think, to just put a, have well, wherever you have some elevation information, and I presume it's NAVD 88, right? It's got to be NAVD 88.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could just, whatever elevation information you have would actually be helpful, I think.
Yeah, we base the elevations on the base flood elevation from here,
Yeah,
and then down to, we set garage slab at 0, essentially.
well, and see, that's sort of, it's not too clear to me. I can see, you got a good plan here. It's just difficult for me to see some of the details. And
Do you want a 3D model?
no, I don't
In
think.
fact, in the picture, you can kind of see the slope of the land.
Oh, yeah.
in the front.
So I noticed that the automobile is still going to get flooded, right? The
is.
elevation of the slab is lower than the base flood elevation.
It is, yep.
And so what happens at the first, so you have some accommodation or something in the garage? I don't understand this.
So if you drive around the beach to look at any of the houses with garages, you will see that, if you see the house right here, this is built to meet the flood zone. So everything below the house is open slats.
Right?
When you build a garage, you're doing the same thing to meet the flood zone.
Okay,
You,
so you're
you
doing
do
this,
not have an enclosed garage in the flood zone.
okay,
You
so-
might look in the street and see solid, but then around the sides, it's open. It's still a flow-through foundation.
Okay, so your first floor elevation of 13.43 feet is basically just for architectural attractiveness? Is that the idea?
It's to prove where the wood starts for the base flood elevation.
Okay, all right.
And I know I think I know the finished floor of the house. There's finished floor 13.43. They do not have any grades of the existing garage.
Okay,
But in reality, this garage is not going to change flood zone because it is flow-through,
Right.
Right.
whereas this is a solid structure.
but you are going to fill some portion.
I'm putting a
Up.
flat slab that is 6 inches higher than, or 8 inches higher than the high point around the perimeter of the garage.
But if it's impervious, Larry, and you're just moving where on planet Earth that impervious section is, it's net, it's not gonna affect the neighbor.
Yeah, okay.
It
I
should be a
think.
Yeah.
better situation
Yeah.
because now this really is going to function as a stormwater retention pond.
Okay, all
Well,
right,
and you could stock it, with fish.
okay.
Kathy?
We'll have-
I'm laughing only because, it's just such a difficult situation.
Oh, yeah.
To have
Yeah,
at Goose
it's an
Fox in
unfortunate-
general, not just this property, but this is not like it's gonna get better next year.
No,
Yeah.
oh, no.
But
I had a couple of questions.
You're gonna,
I've
there'll
been-
be work for the rest of your career on this.
I've been designing these flood zone houses. My first one was in 2004.
Wow.
And I can tell you that after the storms, you go back and look at the houses that actually meet the flood zone, because I spent 20 years listening to clients complain about, I don't want to meet the flood zone. I don't want to be up 4 feet high. I don't want to be that high. Those houses all are still in standing with very little damage.
Yeah.
So I think there is a level of resiliency that's built into projects that are meeting the flood
I
zone.
hear you.
I wanted to
The-
confirm in 2018, when it went into the original footprint, that there was not a change in volume?
I don't have that data.
Okay. And is there a change in volume between the two garage structures?
So this garage, is
Volume,
there a
not square
change in
footage.
volume?
Volume.
That's a good question. I'll show you.
I didn't see it on the plans, and I was just curious. If it is, it's not very much, but
Depends when it.
one of the concerns is that 5 years from now, if someone decides to do a tear down and rebuild and do an expansion, then we have to consider whatever volume went into the increase here. to
We are
subtract that.
increasing the pitch of the roof
Okay.
here compared to what's there now. It's a pitch that complements the main house.
It may be worthwhile to calculate what that volume change is and just add it.
Okay. I guess the question I have is, where does the volume change calculation come into play? Because technically, I don't have a volume calculation for anything that's conforming.
If someone came
Right.
along 5
So
years
it's
from
on,
now.
it's on the areas where it's non-conforming on the
She-
setback.
She's reducing the amount of non-conforming area, and now you're saying in that reduced area, you still want to know if there's been a volume increase?
What if someone 5 years from now wanted to do a complete tear down, hypothetically, and they were gonna rebuild something and they were gonna take advantage of increasing square footage and volume?
They've got this whole paper trail, but
Then the volume would be calculated and recorded here, and they would have to subtract that out from whatever volume they were allowed to.
I mean, if I was gonna,
I'm happy to be wrong on it. but-
no, I don't know. I'm running through my head and it's not there as to whether or not we worry about the volume increase on a non-residential structure.
On the-
Yeah, we do.
We only worry
would-
about the
Nina says-
conforming.
But in the non-conforming area,
Yeah.
it looks like we're decreasing.
Yeah, we'd have to, even with a different slope on this one, I would assume.
But so if we really think that the non-conforming volume that is grandfathered is back in pre-2018, that's the figure that would be
The one to start with.
I don't
to
care if
start
it's on there, I just wanted to raise the question.
No, it's a
I'm
good
not sure.
question. I don't know the answer.
You'd have to go back to the card.
It wouldn't be this volume. This is, looks to me like it's gonna be less than.
I'm,
The volume's gonna be reduced because so much of it is being pulled out of the non-conforming setback.
I'm sure it wasn't in 2018, but if they had gone from a one-story structure to a two-story structure, there would have been a big increase.
Was this built in 2018, or was it built, did it predate?
House was built in 2018, this was existing, predated.
So you'd
And
have
it
to
didn't
look to
change.
see whether they took advantage of the
Assuming
30%
it didn't
increase in
change.
It
volume.
didn't change.
Okay.
And you could probably go back to property cards from before then to see.
But because there was no
this.
Must
findings
not
of
have,
fact, we don't
because it
have.
would have come to the planning board if they were going to.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, the other thing is the 1 year, once it's torn down and gone,
So this must predate.
You bet.
So this is the existing garage is the baseline, and that information will be, well, the volume of the existing garage won't be available here, though.
Okay,
Somebody might want that someday,
not me.
not me.
Yeah, no. So also, I noticed on the right-of-way, there's some numbers like 18, 12.
yeah, I can explain.
Is that elevations?
No. If this right-of-way was built today, it would need to be 22 feet wide.
22.
But it was in 2018 a little shifted, and it started at 12 feet wide,
Okay.
and then it extended to 18 feet wide. So those are not elevations, those are widths.
Width.
And the question came up because it's non-conforming to our current standards, but at the time, it was approved because it was just a shift, not changing any of the of what was existing.
Christie,
Okay.
who's the right-of-way for?
There's a property right here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, it's a driveway.
so they travel over it.
yep.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's a driveway, yeah, for this property, and then it's the
Not a
ocean.
utilities easement or anything, it's
Nope.
a neighbor's,
And access.
right.
And because it's a vehicular right-of-way, you have to have setbacks from where that ends.
If you built it today, but again, they're probably into a grandfathered situation when, in 2018.
Yeah, I'm not sure when, yeah.
Yeah, no, well, they moved it somehow
Yeah.
in 2018 and negotiated this current
It
solution.
is what it is today,
Yeah.
and we ain't changing
We ain't
that,
changing it, so I don't wanna-
whatever happened.
It's making my head hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tearing the numbers out of the old survey information was kind of challenging.
Some of us were on the board in 2018.
Thank you.
And then,
Goose Rock's Beach is a big, big problem right now with trees, which take up stormwater and are better than any other vegetation taking up stormwater. And we've had problems with at least 2 illegal cuttings that I know of, and other people coming in and cutting in their lots, not realizing that that really increases the flooding, especially in dune areas. It holds soil in dunes. And you've got like 4 trees there, and you're going to take out 3 of them?
Two.
Yeah, I
Three
think I
and
spoke
two.
on 3 trees, and we have to take out 2 of them. They are physically located right here.
Is there any way you can move that garage closer to the house so you don't have to take out those trees?
We're actually moving it closer to the ocean, which the DEP does not care for.
Okay.
This is one of those situations where there's no place that makes anyone happy. So
these
we
aren't
just
these are not
tucked
the
it
trees?
as outside of the setbacks. And then the
Well-
closer you get to here, you start getting into like being too close to the foundation of the existing house.
Well, my concern is that
And the trees
You-
are like here, as you can
Yeah.
see in the picture.
that's the problem. Those trees are taking up a lot of water, so that stormwater puddle that you have that may increase in size if you take out those trees.
Stick some willows down there.
So these,
Yeah,
Even though
I-
they don't seem to be very high in diameter, they take out a lot of water.
so what are the diameters of those trees? It looks like 8, 9 inches?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Are these the trees?
Yep, that's it.
So there are 4 of them. And Nina, your thoughts on these? How long,
Well, look at them, they're at the edge of the flood zone there.
they're in the water, they're in
Yeah.
what I assume is salt water right there. That's from a storm surge.
No, not necessarily a super salt, but some of them, like maybe bristlecone pine, not bristlecone pine, but what's the pine that survives the salt water pretty well? And jack pine. Yeah, and there are some other trees out there that can handle some flooding and can take it.
I can ask my client if we can replant. I don't know if trees are the best solution to replant into this area because it's so prone to flooding.
You might want to consider replanting somewhere on the lot
Right, to help.
to help with the flooding situation. Because, you know, if you increase that area that floods, your abutter's not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy.
I think some attention of vegetation in this area is going to be what's most helpful.
That would be a really good idea, to put something in there that can handle the wetland.
Well,
Like
stormwater resilient plantings.
That's some-
There are
And
grasses
filtering.
that will handle that, there are shrubs that will handle that.
Can I put that as a note on the plans?
I
I'm a
think,
little stretched to hire a landscape architect to
yeah,
design that, but
Yeah, I think that
Yeah, we're not gonna-
attention will be given
Yeah.
in the landscape design phase to restoring some of the canopy.
yes.
and providing some landscape that will help maintain the
Groundwater
stormwater
level.
and groundwater.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
I don't think it needs to be specific.
Okay, thank you.
because then we'll find another tree or something, just find the, one that's gotta.
Yeah, it'll be,
It's gotta exist in that environment, and that's gonna limit what you can do anyway, so.
See, those larger trees are already there, and they're obviously handling it.
Yeah.
They've been there for years.
When we deal with these situations, when people do cut trees, we do work in close consultation with Maine DEP, their shoreland experts, and ask them for tree recommendations.
There you go.
So we can certainly do that on our end.
That'd be helpful.
That'd be good, yeah.
I think they put out a list of plantings.
They put out lists, and that list that your predecessor, the temporary predecessor, gave us, Jay gave us on one of the applications is a great one for shrubs and things that handle the shoreland zone, can handle flooding.
I've seen it, I think it's available online. Any other questions?
Well, sounds like we need a little more information.
Yeah, I'm gonna clean up everything and send out a new package for the public hearing.
Okay, well, do we want to continue this, declare it complete so that there's a public hearing next time, or just continue this to next time?
Could we maybe come up with a list of things we're asking for and then look at it?
I would
right
love
now
that.
And say, how big a deal is this? It seems like we've asked for a number of things, but none of them are a big deal.
Yeah.
But I may be wrong.
Corrections on the application,
Yeah,
Or
that
inaccuracies.
percentage.
tree planting.
We talked about the impervious, present day
Yeah,
to propose rather than 2018 to proposed.
I don't care about volume.
Okay, good.
Want to make a motion on that?
I'd like to make a motion to declare this a complete application pending the and assuming the receipt of that, of those requests are made within the next week. I'm trying to allow a week ahead of the public hearing. That's all. I'd like people to have 7 days to digest.
Do I need to mail those to you 7 days before? Okay.
No.
Just
just
submit them to Galen.
get them to Galen, and
Email works.
we'll be fine. Email.
Yeah,
Thank you.
email
They'll
could
be
work.
emailed to us.
Great.
No, we'd like all the plans revised. I need a new printout.
In triplicate.
Yeah, he's kidding.
Excuse me while
Right
I
ahead.
consult with my fellow board member.
This looks good.
Exit stage left.
Okay, so
Stage right.
Ed has a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, so let's
I
vote on
approve-
that.
Approve.
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 Okay, so now what I'm going to, then we'll see you in 2 weeks. But
Thank you.
please provide all of, as much as you can
I will.
in advance.
And thanks for your help in getting us through this.
Okay.
New business? You got new business? You want new business?
Yeah.
Well, what about,
Old business, new business.
what happened to
three.
to Terrapin
28
Good.
Wildwood,
3? Are they?
but I don't know.
There's only one thing on the agenda, right?
Is it?
Three. One was crossed off and then Terrapin.
Yeah.
There was Terrapin.
Yeah.
It says it's on the agenda.
That was updated, that was withdrawn by the request of the applicant
Yeah,
for
it-
Terrapin.
Oh,
well, on the website, it still says that
Yeah.
it's pending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get,
Okay,
I
Well,
just looked at the email.
in that case, I have, you sound anxious to say something.
yeah, so, under new business, we are focusing a lot with the Growth Planning Committee on stormwater.
Oh, yeah.
And so at the open house, we did have a live demonstration for people to understand what best management practices they can utilize to mitigate their stormwater concerns. And so 2 options that were available is porous concrete and porous pavement. You can look at the porous pavement. A good example that's in real life is apparently at the Portland Mall, next to the Best Buy. They have a section there that is the porous pavement that you can actually drive over and park over, and it captures water. And so I asked the engineers for a live sample of this is porous concrete that you can use for sidewalks. And I wanted to show you a live demonstration of how it actually works. It does go, there's multiple layers through, but you can see it just goes right through during rain events, and it captures it
Show and tell.
right through. Yeah, I thought it'd be good to do a show and tell.
That's really cool.
So this is actual demonstration that's gonna be at the code office, that way we can educate people on what options are available to them. It's gonna be especially
I hope you
beneficial.
tell them the first option is to plant trees and vegetation.
There's brochures about rain gardens that we have available, that you can start your own rain garden. That is a very cost-effective manner compared to this. This use is actually beneficial for a lot of these smaller envelopes, especially at Goose Rocks Beach. They can have potentially this as an opportunity to, control their stormwater runoff during major storm events. It does cost a lot. It does usually cost double the cost, so I can share that with you.
So let me ask a related question. At one time, there was some relief given to the impervious calculation if you used a technique, not this one, I don't think this existed then, but one that was, sort of bricks that had
Yep.
areas in them, and then we got rid of that. That
Yep.
was eliminated. Is there thought being given to changing the ordinance that would incentivize somebody spending the money to do this and push them in a direction? Is that on the table?
It's something we are exploring. What I can share with you about Maine DEP with shoreland zoning and non-vegetative structures, they were giving a little bit of a discount for those pavers that had the grass in between.
5 years ago, maybe more, yeah.
And what they discovered is, after years of having these established, the grass wasn't growing, and then it was getting compacted soil, and it was just becoming impervious.
Yep.
So right now, they're still considered non-vegetative surfaces. Certainly, it's something that we
This might be different.
can work towards. It might be something to look at. I will say there is a cleaning aspect to this, because it does, and that's the other problem, is if
Clogged
people
up.
don't do the sweeping and what have you, these pores can get clogged, and then it doesn't work appropriately. But I was actually shocked in learning from the engineer, Sebago Technics did Ella Bean, and they also did, I think, the Portland Mall location. And they said the Portland Mall has never been swept, and it's been installed over 2 years, and it's still functioning, no issues. So might need to go take a drive out there if you're in that area just to check it out. But I wanted just to bring this in to show you a live demonstration, and we're going to have it available to residents if they're interested in playing around with it.
Very
The
cool.
talk that the DEP guy gave, where he was talking about this, you asked the question, do you give, can that be considered permeable material? And he said, no, they were not considering it.
Right,
They were considering it as impervious.
yep.
But again, maybe because of that history of, having once given credit and found out that over,
Yeah,
once you
but
give
if-
something like
if
that, you
we
can't take
do
it back.
If we do that, we'd be out
We-
of sync
we
with the
can't.
DEP. I mean, no, not we, but if the town did that.
We can't do it without
So
the DEP.
keep
buying
in mind that when I'm looking at this more in the big picture, is not really on the impervious surface side. I'm looking more on pre versus post-development for stormwater runoff. Might be an opportunity for people who might have a condensed area, what's already pre-developed with a lot of impervious surface. They can utilize this to get their numbers lower for post-development. That's an option to them. So that might be applicable to site plan, some subdivisions if it's a smaller one.
You should have given a demo first, we could have suggested.
I know.
The driveway.
I didn't know that was gonna brought up, but
I
yeah.
was thinking about that, and I was gonna ask her, have you thought about permeable pavers and
Yep.
stuff like that?
She can utilize that. That's certainly her prerogative to try to mitigate stormwater runoff.
I think you don't have to have grass in between, you could have gravel in between.
Yep, you can, yeah, he had some of the, Sebago brought actual pavers, the porous pavers, and you don't need grass or anything in between it. It has these little slots that go in and works like a charm, so.
The problem with gravel that I see practically is people set a base in there of stone dust or certain levels of it, and they essentially make it impervious.
Yes,
Yep,
So that's, we don't want that.
well, you could dictate the size of the stones.
Yep.
So,
so that's show and tell. I'm done.
Okay, thank you for doing that.
We
That
were
was
gonna
cool.
wash our hands of it.
I know.
All right, who's gonna do the demo next time? We're gonna have to add one of these at the end of every
like a big
session.
tree.
There you go.
Now, can you get that at Home Depot, or is it just through your architect?
They do have consultants and contractors that do utilize it. I don't have the names off the top of my head, but yeah, they do.
Sebago Technics has got the local franchise.
This one actually has a name to it, so you can,
All right,
Storm,
very cool.
what's it called?
Stormcrete.
Stormcrete?
Stormcrete. Oh,
Precast forced concrete.
All right.
So I wouldn't wanna put
Trademark.
this on my house, right? I wouldn't wanna build a house out of this.
No, I wouldn't.
Regular cement has the same
You'd have to
problem.
paint it with impervious.
But when we think for
Just
the
slow.
town moving forward too, when we're doing infrastructure projects, maybe we do this as sidewalks, like to mitigate our risk as well to the surrounding community,
Is
so.
that
not
the only
just the
color
code,
it
it's-
comes in? Yeah.
Oh, it comes in,
I'll bet it does.
yeah, all kinds of things.
Okay, one additional item. This is my next to the last. As chairman, I'm going off after the next meeting. So we should, you guys should have a new chairman and vice chairman as of July. If you want to talk, we could talk about it at the next meeting, discuss it.
Cool. Okay.
So, okay,
Okay.
Thank you, John.
that said, I will move, we adjourn.
No, you,
Second.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're done. Thank you, guys.
full-time job.